That hurt. More verticality. All right, welcome to the Straight Red Card. Make sure you like, subscribe. Thanks to everybody who's supported us. And the show numbers are going way back up again, and we appreciate that.
Keep those comments coming.
Oh, Bretos wrote me. Well, he replied to a comment I put on his page, and I said, Max, come on the Straight Red Card. His response was sure. And so then I went to his personal Facebook page, which I don't think he checks much, and said, okay, let's throw around some dates. Nothing, crickets. And I'm trying to have a better time on this segment than I did the first, Brett, because I have to admit, I mean, I look forward to these games so much. And then when we play like this, it's just kind of a bummer,
Well, what's frustrating is going into these games, especially our home games, I feel like we all expect that we're going to come out, we're going to play, just dominant. We're just going to come out playing dominant. We've seen it on we've seen it on all of our home games up until this one.
Yeah.
We played Mexico. Mind you, the Canada game was kind of a mishmash. I wouldn't necessarily say dominant per se. We did dominate a good chunk of the game, I felt. But as a whole, these home games are meant to be more fun because we're expecting to come out and thoroughly put away win. So that was probably the troubling part of this. And it drew me back to a point that I kind of made with Pulisic earlier in the first segment about how Pulisic would, the way he's performing and stuff like that, would do well against a team that's going to be more organized. Maybe a higher skill team if that, where it's not, you're not going to get swarmed by 3 to 4 players at any given moment to disrupt the play. It's like when we play teams like El Salvador, nothing against them. They came out and they played, and they've taken us to task both games.
Yep. Bum rushed us.
And they keep pressing, and we lose our flow, and it just disrupts our play. But we play Canada, we play Jamaica. I mean, all of our games at home have been solid, I thought. Yeah. But when we play like Mexico, when they're a little more organized and we have a little more freedom of flow, I guess, in the end, in our attack and especially our defense, I think we perform better there than we are performing against these nitty gritty teams.
Yeah, the nitty gritty teams tend to put in a lot of effort, and they're kind of, they're tight down the middle, whereas Mexico plays more spread out and more sort of standard game. And they don't always high press, so that makes it a little bit easier for us. I guess
it makes it sound like we're just taking a big old dump on these these lowly CONCACAF teams. Again, we brought the point that that El Salvador took it to us in both of our qualifying games.
Yeah,
they put just as much pressure on us. Now, mind you, this game, the game we just watched, they had one real chance.
Yeah.
And it was a good chance. But outside that, I think our defense held up well. And we were pretty organized there. We just weren't so organized getting into the attack. So that's where we fell.
My mom texted me about 30 minutes in the game and said, we really don't look like we're that much better of a team than they are. I said, yeah, well, on paper we are. On paper, we're a much better team than they are. They don't have anybody playing at Juventus or Leipzig or Chelsea, but she's like, yeah, well, paper doesn't mean shit. And she's right. Paper doesn't mean shit. And she also said, and this is something we didn't point out in the last segment, that the weather didn't mean shit either. That they didn't look any more uncomfortable in the weather.
You mean the advantage?
Yeah, there was no advantage. There was no advantage. Let's be honest. That
they may have had some level of discomfort, but they played through it.
And Gregg comes out right before the game. They interview him, and he's like, yeah, it's kind of cold out here tonight. I hope it's going to really make it hard for them. Well, it wasn't. 30 degrees is really not that big of a deal. In fact, one of the players can't remember who it was from the other team, came off the field, tore off his shirt and his thermo underneath, tore it off, and just went t-shirt.
Well, I mean, this is the point that we were making in previous segments, before, where it's like, yes, I understand that it's cold out there, and I don't have my issues not necessarily with the players on the pitch. It's more the players on the bench and the fans in the stands, because they're not the ones that are running around for 90 minutes. When you're out there running for 90 minutes, that 20-degree weather that they were experiencing, or what, I'm assuming that's what it was.
30. I thought it was 29.
30? Okay. Yeah. Well, shit. 30? Really?
30 is nothing, dude.
No. Yeah. It's
That's stay out and ride your fucking
swimsuit weather.
That's toboggan. that's sledding down hills all day weather there for me. 30 degrees.
But yeah, so it's when you're on the field, you're not going to feel that, because I mean, you're going to be running around nonstop. You're building up a bunch of heat, and you're wearing this thermal gear, and you're just like, it's overkill at some point. I mean, it's good at the very beginning of the game, but you're 30, 40, 50 minutes into the game, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm dying here.
Yeah. This is no riding green boots down Mount Everest, folks. This is totally easy. 30 degrees is totally easy to do. And nobody looked affected by the weather. But I understand we couldn't go to Kansas City, or was it Colorado? Kansas City does not have a heated field, so that wasn't going to work. And then what was the other one? The Titans in Nashville were still scheduled if they won the playoff game to play. And so we couldn't play at Nashville.
They were talking about Atlanta as an option.
I mean, Atlanta's always going to be pretty decent. But, I mean, it's even cold in Atlanta right now.
Yeah, no, but you're going to be isn't there stadium indoors?
Yeah, there's a whole lot more El Salvadorans that live in Atlanta, though. And that was one of the things Gregg brought up numerous times. He wanted a home crowd. And I can't remember who said it, but they're like, that sounds like a little weird.
Pete brought that up. Pete brought that up as it's like, I think it was Pete. He brought up that's kind of insulting to our American fans of said heritage, that they would just because they were of their heritage, maybe El Salvadoran, that they automatically would root for that team over the U.S.
Some of the most avid supporters I've ran into on Facebook, online, whatever, over the years are of the American team are like Mexican American kids, young kids. They're like second generation or whatever, or third generation Honduran or El Salvadoran. So I'm kind of with Pete on that. Let's just keep winning people over.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think that makes more sense. And so what if it's 50-50? Just
that's how we played our entire existence. We've always been kind of the underdog.
Yeah, but I mean, buck up, dude. Jesus.
All right. Yeah, that was a long intro and an extended from our game recap. This entire episode is going to be about the player grade. So let's get to it. Matt Turner, B+ for me. Well, can't really give him anything higher than that because he didn't do shit. I will say though, his performance with his feet were on par today. Maybe the news of his move to Arsenal, sparked it.
Well, he only made one really long one where you're like, oh wow, that was pretty decent.
I don't know if it was Zimmerman or Desmond. They played a back pass that was like almost a shot on the far post.
I know.
I about shit a brick, man.
It was Zimmerman.
Was it?
And
Zimmerman?
I'm like,
God.
Yeah, I was like, Matt, run, get that shit. Let's go in the goal, dude.
My friends fucking laughed at me because I actually stood up going, ah.
No, I know. I didn't exert that much energy, but I did see that, and I wrote it down. Actually, I have Zimmerman back pass. Yikes!
Okay, so but Turner, yeah, B+. I mean, again, he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't have to do anything right. So,
yeah, there wasn't much for him to do. So there's that.
He had a really nice like drop kick, like just a line drive drop kick, all the way to I don't know if it was Pulisic or Morris at the time. I don't know who it was, but it was like a 50 to 60 yard just drop kick, like line drive that played all the way to the left. It was a brilliant play.
That was one of those. Yeah, that was the drop kick off the ground sort of kick. Yeah. That was a good one. I mean, is this guy really going to Arsenal? Really? Is this really happening?
He's a cheap and solid shot stopper.
Yeah,
So
he is.
He's somebody that they can fall back on, and I feel pretty comfortable. Now, mind you, they must have had some insight because, I mean, why would they possibly go to him unless they've been watching a bunch of USA games? But
they must be. I mean, they know what they're getting, and they know they're not going to get a guy that's going to be like Peleing it back there as a goalkeeper.
What's funny is that when it was announced, all the Arsenal fans came out and goes, "Is he any good?" Because I mean, nobody at Arsenal is going to know who he is. And so, of course, all the American fans are coming on there and go, "Great shot stopper, pretty cruddy with his feet."
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny. I get those kind of messages. I remember when Reggie Cannon went to Boa Vista in one of my Portuguese. I have a Brando fan club in Portugal for our band, and he's a big soccer fan too. And he wrote me, he's like, "So, is Reggie Cannon any good?" I'm like, yes. Kinda. Sort of good at some things and not good at others. He's like, "Oh, I thought maybe he was going to be really good." No, he's not that fast, and he's not that great of a passer, but he's a good defender.
A good 1v1 defender.
Yeah. I'll let you do Jedi.
I gave Jedi a B to B plus range. I mean, you got to give him something for the goal. That was a great goal, and he almost had a second one too.
I'm not gonna.
He just had some shoddy crosses. He's good on defense. I don't know. B plus.
I had him at a B plus, but then I gave him up to an A minus for the goal. I moved him up to an A minus because
I feel you on that.
Right place, right time means something.
Almost twice. Like I said,
he made some really good runs too. He really did.
Yeah.
And albeit for the crossing, I thought his defense was sufficient. He was where he needed to be. He was the only threat we had on the left because Pulisic was too busy pinching in. So he wasn't. I mean, they did some back and forth between those two, but I mean, Pulisic had some. I won't get into Pulisic too much, but he had some heavy touches when he was past the ball on the left. I'll do Dest B. I get Dest a B. Same problem, bad crossing.
Yeah, I gave him a B minus. I mean, there was just several times where he did one too many extra touches that resulted in getting dispossessed.
Yeah,
I don't know. I gave him a B minus. It wasn't a terrible game, but it wasn't his best.
He and Pulisic both have that problem. One too many touches.
Well, and we brought it up in the first segment. I think the issue is, when Musa's on the right-hand side, him, Dest, and Weah have this connection. There's just a relatively good understanding of each other. And I think that was missing.
Yeah, it seemed like things were a little mixed up just from that simple swap of Musa and McKennie, or moving Musa back into a lower role. And yeah, that did seem to screw up the chemistry. All right, Richards, my turn.
No, my turn. I gave him a B.
Okay. I gave him a B too. I thought he had nervous moments, and one.
I thought he cleaned it up though.
He did. He had one yikes back pass. I'm like, oh shit.
Well, I mean, and we're gonna get into Zimmerman next, but Zimmerman had an errant pass that ended up resulting in an opportunity too. So.
Oh, but what about that time Richards took the ball forward for whatever fuck reason? I don't know why. He tried to dribble through like 3 fucking players and lost the ball.
Yeah.
That was like, what are you doing, dude? What are you thinking? Pass it to the dude on the left. He's wide open. I don't know. Whatever.
I thought him and Zimmerman both had a relatively tidy defensive game. A couple bad instances, but not terrible by any means, but still pretty solid.
For as exposed as they were all game long, as really a back two, because Anthony Robinson and Dest were playing so high up the left and the right at times. Some of those counters could have been really worse than they ended up being. So for that reason, I'm giving Zimmerman an A. I also thought he was the leader on the field.
An A?
I'm giving Zimmerman an A. Yes.
Okay.
I am. I thought he was that solid. I thought he had one mistake the whole game. Sure. Can you point out any other mistake besides the one you just mentioned?
Not really.
Not off
the top of my head, at least.
I mean, did he do any risky passes? No, not really.
Let's put it this way. That was the only play that stood out in my mind.
Exactly.
So, I don't know. I'm going B+ on him.
He's playing with Richards, who this is, one of Richards' first games. Again, he's played first before, but again, not a lot in qualifiers. He played against Costa Rica. Yeah, not a lot in qualifiers. So this is a new partner for him in a lot of ways. It's the first game of the window, and he held that back four and communicated well with Adams, I thought, and we were never really threatened back there. And I think they tried to play some long balls because they were trying to do a quick counter on us, but no, I mean, we just got rid of it. There was no opportunities for them. No. And I think
the duo did well, again, outside of their shaky moments, but I think they did well.
I didn't see as many shaky moments for Zimmerman as I saw for Richards. I thought Zimmerman was his usual solid ass self, making one mistake, basically. Sure. He looked calm. Like I said, he looked like the leader back there to me, if you ask me.
I mean, he should be. He's the experienced, player back there. He should be the leader.
Did Adams have the armband today?
No, Pulisic had it, and then he gave it to Adams. Adams kind of gave a look like, yeah, that's right. This should have been mine.
That's for sure. We'll get to Pulisic. Adams, I gave a B-. I just thought he was shaky at times. Solid defensively when necessary, but
I thought he did great getting back on the defense.
Yes.
I think he made. Funny thing is, he made the same number of errant passes that resulted in chances as the number on the back of his jersey. He caused four chances that I saw. That were just like, what the fuck was that, Adams? Jeez.
This was not his best game as far as distribution.
Yes.
And
you have to discern it, because I mean, obviously, as in the defensive side, he recovered on a number of plays.
Yeah, he saved their ass. That
takes me to another point of Zimmerman. I don't know what Zimmerman was up to at this point, but there was a point where Dest was 1v1 defending, and Adams had to make like a 30-yard sprint back to cover some guy that was cutting through the middle.
Yep.
And Twellman even talked about how Zimmerman was out of position. He was pulled out of position. Now, he may have been pulled out of position for a good reason. Maybe he was marking somebody else. I don't know. Or maybe he was recovering for somebody else. I can't recall what happened, but that's what I recall. But I mean, I thought Adams had a good defensive side of his game.
I thought Zimmerman saw Adams and pulled more centrally because he thought Adams was going to get there. And, it's hard to read lips when guys are yelling at each other out there.
Yeah.
And you got to have really good TV to see some of the details. But yeah, it looked to me that he believed that he saw Adams and he knew Adams was going to get there. And so he pulled more centrally to, make sure nothing got across, didn't come through after that. That was going to be dangerous. But yeah, that was one of the rare scary moments in the game for us. There were a few. Well, I think there were 3 where you're like, yeah, that could have been bad.
Yeah.
And it didn't end up being bad, thankfully.
No, our defense, like I said, our defense is pretty solid as a whole and covered up a lot of it.
Did you give Adams a grade?
No, I didn't actually. I don't think I did.
I gave him a B-.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm giving him a B- as well.
All right. I'll let you do McKennie.
I gave McKennie a B+.
So did I. I thought he's still the engine.
Absolutely.
I mean, he had some moments where I'm like, where the fuck are you going with that? But in the end, he was the engine and the little engine that could. I mean, he was everywhere. He was
the motor that kept our midfield as disjointed as it was together.
Yes.
So no, I absolutely. I thought he had a pretty decent game. It wasn't the best because the midfield didn't play together as a cohesive team. Hopefully that gets corrected for Canada. But no, I think McKennie was in some dangerous positions. He made some nice passes. Unfortunately, couldn't connect properly with that header.
Yeah.
Or the final play that he got injured on. But it was a nice little head back. I think
it looked like a cramp. Yeah. I don't think he's going to be injured.
Oh, he recovered fine. He was running around perfectly fine after that.
Yeah, so just a little crampy thing, or maybe like one of those times where you kind of twist your ankle.
Yeah.
As you come down, and then you're like, "Oh fuck, how bad is that going to be?" And then you're like, "Okay, it's not that bad. It's okay. I can go on. But you're kind of stepping on it lightly for a second because you're like, that shit twisted over pretty far. It's amazing how flexible ankles actually are.
Scarily. I mean, I've seen enough of the ones where you roll it where you're like your ankles literally touching the ground.
I know. I've rolled mine tons of times. And then I was a skateboarder too. And I would land awkwardly. And why my parents let me skateboard when I was playing on the soccer team, I don't know. But yeah. Let's see. My turn. Musa, I gave. McKennie B+. Musa B+. No, B for me. B for Musa. He got better in the second half.
I gave Musa B-.
Okay.
I mean, again, he not like he did anything really wrong. He had a couple of one too many touches, but as a whole, I thought his game was perfectly fine. It's just he was playing too far back.
And again, we don't know who to blame for that.
Yeah.
Is that Pulisic's fault? Is that Gregg's fault? I mean, in the end, it's Gregg's fault because Gregg needs to say, Pulisic,
correct it. Yeah. Stay your ass up.
Stop playing Moose's position in the midfield. All right. Go out wide, dude, and attack players from out wide. So I don't know. I mean, at this point, I am utterly baffled about how a guy as good as Christian Pulisic can look that bad for 65 minutes. I just don't get it. And how we don't utilize him. It's like Weah was 10 times more effective than Pulisic today. And because Weah made himself available and Weah looked for passes. And
Weah stayed his ass out wide.
Yes, he did.
That's the big thing. I mean, he came into the middle a couple times, but he kept his position. He opened up the field, and that's why the right was much more dangerous than the left.
Yep. And that's why I give Weah a B+.
Absolutely.
I thought he just played better because he was in the right positions. It's like sometimes I don't know what Pulisic's thinking or if he's been told to do that. And if he's being told to do that, that's horrific. Keep him out wide. When he's at Chelsea, he plays out wide. And he and Chilwell back in the good old days used to dip and dab together. And then, Pulisic would be able to attack the players, but not 3 or 4 at a time, like 1 at a time. And here he just tried to do too much as well. And it's just getting to be a trend and it's getting kind of worrisome. I hope you're right and they fix it. But
I would hope that Berhalter's paying attention to that. And again, I guess here's the other problem. I guess if Berhalter's telling him to do that, he's not going to fix it because I find it very rare that Berhalter ever admits to messing something up. And he may make a change on the field, but I brought this up in another segment. It was like when we talked about the Panama game just recently in the presser, he's like, it was just a bad performance.
No, it wasn't just a bad performance. It was you. You had a bad performance, Gregg.
The players played poorly too, but it was put on by him.
And that's I'm sorry. Klinsmann never would admit to being wrong ever of having a bad setup or having a bad game plan. We're kind of at the same spot with Gregg. At least Bruce, on occasion, would say that's not on the players. I didn't do what I needed to do tonight, and I didn't get them prepared. Like Bruce would occasionally over the years take some guff, but not the last 2 guys. Bradley too. Bradley would say, listen, it wasn't good enough. That's on me and the team, but it's also on me. These 2 guys, Klinsmann and Berhalter, fuck no. They don't take blame for shit.
It's probably because they both played in Germany. Sorry. That's a throwback. But no, I mean, it would be something as simple as saying, for the Panama game, you may believe that 9 times out of 10, you would have gotten a point at least or win. But I mean, you should at least come out and say, maybe I shouldn't have done such wholesale changes. That's on me. I shouldn't have thrown so many players that haven't consistently played together during qualifying together from the start,
or
maybe
perform.
Maybe there should be some cohesiveness between my starting lineups. I don't know, but
yeah, exactly. So I mean, it'd be refreshing to hear that. Oh, yeah. Are you back? You cut out. Are you there? Okay. It would be refreshing to hear that. No, you cut out for a second on mine at least, so I couldn't hear you. But that's why I gave Pulisic a C.
Yeah, I mean, it was It was just a downright average game. Nothing great. I mean, he probably did more bad than good.
By the way, Costa Rica just scored 1-0 up on Panama.
You are literally must be seconds ahead of me.
They just scored.
And there's the goal right. Nope. There's the goal right there.
It was a little fluky.
Yeah. Is that Brian Ruiz? Yep.
Oh, yeah. Old man Ruiz.
Right place, right time.
What is he? 39, 38? How old is that guy? I mean, he's got to be old. And he was already slow before, and now he's even slower.
Yeah.
All right, Ruiz. Good for you, buddy.
Still solid on the play, though. If he has the ball on his foot, he's good.
So it was okay. Play inside the box. Two guys almost ran into each other. Goalie saved it, and then Ruiz just punked it in.
The goalie nearly saved that too.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of play we're missing. We really are. Like these nice little passes inside the box. Now, granted, teams tend to crowd the box against us. Teams like El Salvador, but that was a nice little boop, boop, boop. And finished. Although the first shot should have been the finish. First guy missed.
Still a nice shot, though. The keeper made a nice save.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So as we said in the beginning of the segment, this could be good for us to put that gap between fourth place.
Yeah. Although they have to play New Zealand, right? Fourth place team.
Yeah.
Because it ain't going to be American Samoa or Tahiti. New Zealand's really not that bad of a team, though, so it's nothing to sneeze at. Yeah, for sure. All right, Ferreira, it's your turn.
I gave Ferreira B-, primarily because of his misses.
Yeah,
I thought he did a great job getting in the right spots, and this was the first game that really opened my eyes to how quick he was.
Yeah, he's a quick little dude. He is.
But he applied a lot of pressure. He got in the right positions. But man, if he would have just put away one of those chances, it would have been a different game altogether. But he didn't, and that's why I've knocked him down a bit.
Yeah. And I don't think, again, it's all his fault. I mean, he did come deep to get the ball quite a bit, playing like a false nine, and just don't think that's necessary against a team like El Salvador. I don't get it. If Gregg wants to explain it, I hope he will explain it, but he's not going to. No one's going to ask him those questions today at the fucking press conference. Were so horrible for Pulisic. Or yesterday. Did you watch the interview with Pulisic?
I didn't watch Pulisic one now.
Over and over it. How is it? How are you dealing with the fact that you're playing out of position in Chelsea? And that question at least 5 times, but just reworded in different ways. And after a while, Pulisic's just like, I don't blame him for being like, fuck these stupid questions.
I don't understand that line of questioning anyways. This is leading into a U.S. men's national team camp.
Yes, but they were saying, well, how does that affect you when you get to the camp? Oh, and how is that affecting you personally at the club? And like I said, we're reworded 5 different times. I might be exaggerating a little, but it was so fucking annoying. I couldn't take it anymore.
Well, regardless of that, I'm just saying. Talk some U.S. men's national team shit instead.
Yeah, and I do, and they asked the weather question 3 different times. How are you going to deal with the weather? How are your teammates dealing with the weather?
I think blah. You think Pulisic left the interview going, that was the easiest fucking interview ever. I had to answer 2 questions.
I think he left the interview annoyed, just like anyone who would have left that interview or witnessed it. And listen, and none of the people that we know ask dumb questions, but a lot of the people we don't know ask dumb questions. Yeah. And I'm not just saying that because our guys are good. Stephen Goff, good. Brian Schroeder, good. Meg not there again today. I don't know what's going on with Meg. So the people we know, good. Who?
Did we name drop her too many times?
I hope that's not what happened. Couldn't be.
No.
There's just no way. I mean, but a lot of people have been regurgitating our shit lately. And maybe they have no idea where it came from in the first place, except for Jimmy knows. But I hope not. I really hope that didn't happen to her. And if it did, geez, I'd feel horrible. But we never said she out and out said anything. We just said she intimated these things. And then I took it another step. And then I had some messages from people I knew who kind of confirmed or took it another step forward. Mm-hmm. And that's when months ago we started saying Brooks ain't going to be on this team. And we were right. And now everybody's like, oh, I guess something was wrong.
I'm pretty sure her exact quote was Berhalter and Brooks played a game of Rochambeau and Berhalter lost. He's pissed off about it.
Yeah, it wasn't that he kicked his other dog or anything like that.
No,
so
they just took turns kicking each other in the nuts.
That sounds painful. All right.
Usually first person wins.
I know. I've seen those junk punch competitions on YouTube before back in the old days. I don't know if they still allow those where people punch each other in the nuggets. Anyhow, not something I sought out, but something.
It's on ESPN the Ocho.
Yeah,
it's the Junk Punch 2021 Finals World.
And we have Michael, the man of balls of steel, in corner number 1. All right, Aronson, 25. I just gave him a B. I don't know what else to give him.
Hard to give him anything. I mean, he had a couple touches. And
he did some good
not
things.
Bad, not good. I mean,
it was just like, man, whatever. He came in.
He came in. He brought his energy that he always brings.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
that's something you can always depend on him to do.
Yeah.
Zardes got 20. So did Morris. It's really hard to grade those guys. Morris had, I thought he was okay, but I understand why he looked a little lethargic at times, which is you don't usually see him like not thinking ahead or not. I don't know. Running his balls off. I mean, he did run his balls off. He just was in the wrong spots at all the time. I don't really think it's all his fault.
He had a really nice play where he stepped in at the right time, and I can't put the actual play together right now, but I recall just saying, "Oh, it's nice, Morris."
Mm-hmm. And we ended up playing a lot more defense in that last 15, because they were trying to get that tying goal, and I was more worried about stopping a goal from happening, a fluke goal from happening, than I was about Morris at that point.
Exactly.
So I probably didn't pay much attention. And Acosta got 5, and that's no grade. I can't. I mean, he did what he does defensively.
But it's 5 minutes. You couldn't really do much. I mean, how do you grade that?
How do you grade somebody who takes 1/100th of the test? Yeah. It's just difficult to do. Yeah, it's 100. It's a 90. There are 90 questions on the test, but I could only finish 5 of the questions. So it's kind of like, I can't grade you on that.
Yeah.
I think that's going to do this. And then we're going to try What?
Grade Berhalter.
Oh, Berhalter. C.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. C, just C minus, because I guess it's C because I don't necessarily know if the faults of the players was due to tactics, because in the second half, that midfield played differently than they did the entire first half. Yeah. Now, mind you, it reverted back towards the end, especially after we got the goal. But I feel like they came off at halftime, and Berhalter was simply like, what are we doing sitting this close back to the defense? Open it up. Get off the defense's nutsack, Let them make a pass. And oddly enough, the beginning of the second half, there was now like at least a 10-yard gap between Adams and a center back. And the center back gets the ball. They can lace a 10-yard pass instead of a 5-yard pass. And we were doing much better at the beginning of the second half. We got a goal. So I'm going to give him a C. Like you said, C. It was relatively average. He came out with probably minus Pepi, probably the same lineup that we came up with, actually. Mind you, I think we may have had Aronson starting over Weah, but
it really so much of the game, it looked, or portions of the game, it looked like we were playing a 4-2-1-3. Or if you really want,
if you're going to do a 4-2-1-3, man, that one can't be McKennie. Nothing against McKennie, but I mean, I feel like you'd have to play like an actual like number 10.
Yeah,
at that point.
I mean, was this really a 4-3-3 for large portions of the games? It certainly didn't look like it.
No.
And it looked more like a 4-2-3-1 with McKennie playing behind Ferreira, and then you got Weah out wide, and then Ferreira and Pulisic playing right next to each other as forwards. So maybe that's a 4.
Well, I mean, at sometimes you even brought this up. Ferreira was even playing behind McKennie at some points.
Yeah.
So
it just looked,
what that lineup was.
It's very confusing. I'm not sure how this is all supposed to work. I
was honestly confused when Ferreira got the start over Zardes. Not saying that I think Zardes should have started over Ferreira, but I just assumed that Berhalter would have started him. But I mean, I think Ferreira did enough to warrant his start over Zardes because he was at least creative enough. He had a couple opportunities, didn't put him away, unfortunately, but maybe next time he gets his chance, he will. But
Zardes shouldn't have been on this team. That should have been DK in there for that last 20. But
was it somebody had mentioned on Twitter earlier today? They're like, I'm not a Berhalter hater, but why isn't PFOC on this lineup? He has like 11 goals in like 16 games or whatever it was. And somebody posted the clip of Zardes scoring with his face. And it's like, well, the problem is PFOC's control of his face is not nearly as good as Zardis's. And I'm like, that was the perfect response.
And it's so true. I mean, that's the one thing you do get out of Zardes is a bunch of lucky ass goals, just bouncing off all kinds of parts of his body. You're not probably going to get that with PFOC, and that's true. But I would have rather it been DK or PFOC in those last, whatever he played, 20 minutes. But I guess, I mean, you take into account how long Zardes was injured last season. I mean, how could he possibly be? But then again, he knows Gregg's system. So I guess that's why he makes the team. Well, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I've given up trying to understand this shit. I really have. I mean, I just can't figure out. I mean, yes, I know why. I do know why, but I don't know why he thinks that's a good thing or why he thinks that's the why. I don't get it. I simply don't get it. But we move on to segment 3. Until the next time, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with your grandma. Cheers. That hurt.